Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Without Limit. My name is Julia, and I am so happy you are here with me today. If you are new to this podcast, let me tell you something important. Here on English Without Limit, I upload new lessons regularly to help you improve your English step by step. Whether you are listening at home, on the bus, or during your lunch break, you will always find something useful to make your English better. Today's episode is designed for upper intermediate to advanced learners, around the B2 to C1 level. The topic for today is daily life in English and how you can use natural, polite sentences in real situations that you face every single day. I'll also share some stories and real-life examples so that learning feels natural and interesting. Let's begin with a simple story. Yesterday morning, I went to the local market to buy some fresh vegetables. There, I met an old friend named Daniel. He works as an accountant, and he told me something interesting about his daily routine. Every morning before going to the office, he spends about 10 minutes planning his day. He writes down 3 important tasks that he must finish before the evening. For example, yesterday his tasks were complete a report, call a client about a payment, and prepare a presentation for his boss. This small habit helps him feel more organized and less stressed. Do you do something like this in your daily life? Think about it. Even making a small list in English can help you improve your language because you're using real words and phrases that matter to you. Later, that same day, I stopped by a small bakery near my home. The baker, Mrs. Thompson, is such a kind woman. She always greets customers with a big smile and says, "Good afternoon. How can I help you today?" This is such a simple sentence, but it makes people feel welcome. When I asked her about her day, she replied, "It has been busy, but I like meeting people. It makes my work enjoyable." This is a very natural way to express that even though you are busy, you still find happiness in your job. Can you think of a sentence like that about your own work or studies? For example, you could say, "My work is challenging, but I enjoy helping my customers." Or, "My studies take a lot of time, but I feel proud when I learn something new." Now, let's talk about another daily situation, traveling by public transport. Last week, I had to go to the city center by bus. On the bus, I saw a man named Mr. Ahmed who looked confused. He was holding a map and trying to find the right stop. I asked him, "Excuse me, do you need help?" He smiled and said, "Yes, I'm looking for the central library. Do you know which stop is closest?" I told him, "Yes, you should get off at the next stop and walk straight for 5 minutes. He thanked me and said, "That was very kind of you." In English, when you want to help someone in public, you can use simple, polite phrases like, "Excuse me, may I help you? Do you need any assistance?" These are short, polite, and very easy to remember. Another common part of daily life is grocery shopping. Let me share a story from last weekend. My husband, Peter, and I went to the supermarket to buy food for the week. We needed bread, milk, eggs, and some fruit. At the checkout counter, the cashier asked, "Do you have a loyalty card?" I said, "No, I don't, but can I pay by card?" She replied, "Yes, of course." This small exchange is very common in English-speaking countries. Notice how polite it is. Nobody uses complicated words, but the meaning is clear and respectful. Now imagine you are in a coffee shop. You want to order a coffee with milk and a sandwich. The conversation might go like this. The waiter says, "Hello, what would you like to order?" You answer, "I would like a coffee with milk and a chicken sandwich, please." The waiter replies, "Would you like it to go or to have here?" You say, "To have here, please." This is a very natural and polite way to order something. Of course, daily life also brings small challenges. For example, last month, our washing machine stopped working. It was stressful because we had a lot of laundry for the whole family. I called a repair service and said, "Hello, my washing machine is not working. Could you send someone to fix it this week?" The man on the phone replied, "Yes, we can come on Thursday morning. Is that okay for you?" I said, "Yes, that would be perfect. Thank you." Again, notice how the conversation is simple, polite, and clear. Let me share one more daily situation, visiting the post office. Last week, I had to send a package to my sister. When I arrived, the clerk said, "Good morning, how can I help you?" I answered, "I would like to send this package to London, please." He asked, "Would you like standard delivery or express?" I said, "Standard, please." He replied, "That will be $10. Do you want a receipt?" I said, "Yes, please." This is a very typical exchange, and practicing it can make you feel much more confident. You can also practice English with the people around you, even neighbors. Yesterday evening, I saw my neighbor, Mr. Smith, watering his garden. I said, "Good evening. How are you today?" He smiled and said, "I'm fine, thank you. How was your day?" We chatted for 2 minutes about the weather and about his new plants. This kind of small talk is so helpful. It doesn't need to be long. It just needs to be polite and natural. The same is true when you go to a restaurant with family or friends. My friend Maria went to a restaurant with her husband last week. The waiter asked, "Do you have a reservation?" She replied, "Yes, it's under the name Maria." The waiter said, "Please follow me. Your table is ready." Later, when they finished eating, the waiter asked, "Would you like anything else?" They said, "No, thank you. Could we have the bill, please?" Again, very polite and very natural. Every day gives you many chances to listen and speak English. The more you use it in real life, the faster you will improve. You don't need to wait for a perfect situation. You can start with simple phrases like, "Good morning, how are you?" Or, "Could you help me with this?" Or, "I would like a glass of water, please." Let's continue our journey of daily life English practice. In the next part, I'll share even more situations you may face every week. Each story will give you new vocabulary, natural sentences, and ideas on how to communicate better. Remember, you can listen and then repeat after me when you hear useful phrases. That's one of the best ways to improve. Now, let me give you one final example from a few days ago. I went to the pharmacy to buy some medicine for my husband, Peter. He had a small headache after working many hours on the computer. When I entered the pharmacy, the pharmacist said, "Hello, how can I help you today?" I replied, "Good afternoon. I need some pain relief tablets for a headache, please." The pharmacist asked, "Do you want something strong or just a normal painkiller?" I said, "Just a normal one, thank you." He brought me the medicine and explained, "Take 1 tablet after food 2 times a day." I thanked him and said, "Have a good day." This short exchange shows you that simple, polite language is always enough. Now, let's talk about visiting a doctor for a regular checkup. Last month, I had my annual health check with Dr. Brown. When I arrived, the receptionist greeted me and said, "Good morning. Do you have an appointment?" I replied, "Yes, my name is Natasha. I have an appointment at 10 a.m. She smiled and said, "Please take a seat. The doctor will call you soon." After a few minutes, Dr. Brown called me in and asked, "How are you feeling today?" I answered, "I'm feeling fine, but I sometimes feel tired in the evening." He asked me some questions about my sleep and diet. Then he said, "Everything looks good. Just try to drink more water and sleep at least 7 hours every night." These kinds of conversations are very common when you visit a clinic or hospital. Another daily life moment is receiving a delivery at home. 2 weeks ago, I ordered a set of kitchen tools online. On the day of delivery, the delivery man called me and said, "Hello, this is from Quick Delivery Service. We are arriving in 10 minutes. Are you at home?" I replied, "Yes, I am here. Please ring the doorbell when you arrive." When he came, he asked, "Could you please sign here?" I signed and said, "Thank you for bringing it." He replied, "Have a nice day." You can see how these simple sentences help make the delivery process smooth and polite. Now, imagine going to a small repair shop to fix your phone. Last year, my phone screen cracked, so I went to a local repair shop. The technician said, "Hello, what happened to your phone?" I explained, "The screen is broken. Can you fix it?" He replied, "Yes, we can replace the screen. It will take 2 days and cost $50. I asked, "Can you also check the battery?" He said, "Yes, I will check that too." After 2 days, I collected my phone and it was like new. Here, you can see how easy it is to explain a problem if you use clear words like broken, fix, replace, or check. Now, let's talk about a situation at the bank. Last month, I went to open a savings account for my son. The bank officer said, "Good morning. How can I assist you?" I replied, "I would like to open a savings account, please." She asked for my identification and gave me a form to fill out. Then she explained, "You will need to deposit a small amount to start the account. After that, you can add money anytime." I said, "Thank you for explaining. Can I also get an online banking account?" She replied, "Yes, we will send you the details by email." This conversation teaches you useful phrases like open an account, fill out a form, and deposit money. Sometimes in daily life, you need to ask for directions. Last winter, my friend Sarah came to visit my city for the first time. She wanted to go to the museum, but she wasn't sure about the way. She stopped a man on the street and said, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the city museum?" The man replied, "Sure. Go straight for 2 blocks, then turn right at the traffic light. The museum will be on your left." Sarah said, "Thank you very much." And the man answered, "You're welcome." Notice how clear and simple the direction was. Let's think about a situation at work. My colleague, Mr. David, had to explain a problem with a project to his manager. He said, "Good morning. I want to update you about the project. We have a small delay because the supplier sent the materials late. We will need 3 more days to finish the task." The manager replied, "Thank you for informing me. Please try to keep me updated every day." This is a good example of how to give a simple and polite explanation in a work environment. Now, what about going to the library? Last weekend, I visited the library to borrow a book about gardening. The librarian said, "Hello, do you have a library card?" I said, "Yes, here it is." She scanned it and asked, "How many books would you like to borrow?" I replied, "Just one, please." She said, "You can keep it for 2 weeks." I thanked her and said, "Have a great weekend." This is very simple language, but it is used often. Sometimes we have to ask for help in a shop. 2 days ago, I went to a clothing store to buy a new jacket. I asked the shop assistant, "Excuse me, do you have this jacket in a larger size?" She said, "Yes, please wait a moment. I will check in the back." After a few minutes, she brought the jacket and said, "Here you go. Would you like to try it on?" I said, "Yes, thank you." After trying it, I said, "This fits perfectly. I will take it." At the cashier, she asked, "Would you like a paper bag?" I said, "Yes, please." And daily life also includes paying utility bills. Last month, I went to pay my electricity bill at the service office. The clerk said, "Good afternoon. Can I have your account number?" I said, "Yes, here it is." He checked and said, "Your bill is $55 this month." I paid and asked, "Can you give me a receipt?" He said, "Of course, here it is." This is another very normal exchange in everyday life. Let's begin with a simple and beautiful daily life moment, visiting a park with your family. Last Sunday, my husband Peter and I took our children to the park. At the entrance, a guard smiled and said, "Good morning. The park will close at 6 p.m. today." I replied, "Thank you for telling us." Inside, we found a nice bench and sat down. A lady nearby asked politely, "Could you please take a photo of us?" I said, "Of course." After taking the picture, she smiled and said, "Thank you so much." These small interactions make your day feel warmer and friendlier. Now, let's think about another common situation, returning an item to a store. Last month, I bought a blender, but unfortunately, it wasn't working properly. I went back to the shop and said, "Hello, I bought this blender last week, but it is not working. Can I exchange it?" The shop assistant asked, "Do you have the receipt?" I gave it to her. She checked, then said, "We can replace it for you. Please wait a moment." After a few minutes, she returned with a new one and said, "Here you go." I replied, "Thank you for your help." See how polite sentences and a calm tone make the whole process smooth? Next, let's visit a bookshop. Last Friday, I went into a small bookshop in town. The shopkeeper greeted me, "Hello, are you looking for anything special?" I said, "Yes, I want a book about healthy cooking." She showed me a few books and said, "This one is very popular." I looked at it and said, "This looks good. How much is it?" She replied, "It is $12." I bought it and said, "Thank you. Have a nice day." Now imagine you are at a bus or train station. You might need to ask, "Excuse me, what time does the next train to Boston leave?" Or, "Is this the platform for train 452? If the staff gives you a long answer, Don't worry. You can politely say, "Could you repeat that slowly, please?" Short, polite sentences like these make travel much easier. Let's practice another moment, ordering food at a restaurant. When you arrive, the waiter may ask, "Table for two?" You can say, "Yes, please." After sitting down, the waiter says, "Here is the menu." You look at it and say, "I would like chicken soup and grilled fish." The waiter asks, "Would you like something to drink?" You say, "Yes, a glass of water, please." When the food arrives, you smile and say, "Thank you." If you want more bread, you can ask, "Could we have some more bread, please?" At the end, the waiter may ask, "Would you like dessert?" You can reply, "No, thank you. Just the bill, please." And when you pay, it's nice to say, "Thank you. Everything was very good." Now let's practice asking for directions in English. Imagine you are lost in a new city. You stop a person and say, "Excuse me, could you tell me the way to the museum?" The person replies, "Go straight, then turn left at the traffic light." You say, "Thank you very much." If you didn't understand, you can ask, "Could you say that again slowly, please?" Daily life also brings us to the pharmacy. You might say, "Hello, I need some medicine for a headache." The pharmacist asks, "Do you want tablets or syrup?" You reply, "Tablets, please." He explains, "Take 1 tablet every 6 hours with water." You say, "Thank you very much." What about grocery shopping? At the counter, the cashier might say, "Good afternoon. Do you need a bag?" You can answer, "Yes, please," or "No, thank you, I have my own bag." When paying, you ask, "Can I pay by card?" The cashier says, "Yes, please insert your card." After paying, you smile and say, "Thank you. Have a nice day." Now let's talk about parking. Last week, I parked my car in a paid parking area. At the machine, I read, "Please enter your car number." I entered it, paid, and got a ticket. A parking staff member explained, "Place this ticket on your car dashboard." Daily life also includes visiting a butcher shop. Last Saturday, I said, "Hello, I need half a kilo of chicken breast." The butcher said, "Here it is. Anything else?" I replied, "No, that is all." Sometimes you go to a flower shop. My friend Anna wanted flowers for her mother. She said, "Good afternoon. Can I have a bouquet of red roses?" The shopkeeper asked, "Would you like a card with it?" Anna said, "Yes, please." Another common moment is asking for help with a heavy bag. At the supermarket, I asked a worker, "Could you please help me carry this bag to my car?" He kindly replied, "Of course." Daily life also includes arranging school transport. Last year, I called a school bus service and said, "Hello, I want to arrange transport for my son." The staff replied, "Please fill out this form and we will confirm the timing." Now, let's talk about a real experience I had at the local market. I needed to buy fresh vegetables and fruits for the week. The market was busy. I picked up apples, tomatoes, cucumbers, and spinach. When I reached the counter, the seller asked, "Would you like to pay by cash or by card?" I replied, "I will pay by card, please." But the card machine wasn't working. The seller apologized. "The machine is out of service right now. Could you please pay in cash?" I checked my wallet and realized I only had a small amount of cash. So I asked, "Can I keep these things aside and come back later with cash?" The seller agreed and said, "Of course, I will keep them for you."
I went to the nearest ATM, withdrew money, and returned to complete my shopping. This taught me an important lesson. Always carry a little cash, even if you usually pay by card.
Have you ever had to change your plan because something didn't work as expected? In English, you could say, I planned to pay by card, but the machine was not working, so I had to use cash. Later that same day, I met my neighbor, Mrs. Carter. She was carrying heavy grocery bags and looked a little tired. I offered to help her carry them upstairs. She smiled and said, "Thank you so much, Natasha. That is very kind of you." While walking, she told me how important it is to help each other in the community. She said, small actions like helping carry bags, holding the door, or greeting each other make a big difference. I agreed with her, and I thought this is also a great lesson for English learners. You can practice short, polite sentences like, "Can I help you with that?" Or, "Would you like me to carry it for you?" These sentences are simple, but they are powerful in building connection and kindness in daily life. Welcome back to English Without Limit. I'm Julia, and today we're continuing our journey through real-life situations where you can practice English naturally. These are the little moments that happen every week, at home, with friends, or around your neighborhood. And they are perfect opportunities to use simple, polite, and clear sentences. Let's start with a visit to a friend's house. Earlier this week, my friend Daniel invited me over for a cup of tea. His wife, Emma, was also there, and we all sat together in their living room. Daniel began telling me about how they manage their household tasks. They have a small whiteboard in their kitchen where they write down weekly chores. For example, Daniel handles paying the bills and fixing things around the house, while Emma takes care of cooking and organizing the fridge. On weekends, they clean the apartment together. I found this system very practical and asked, "How did you come up with this idea?" Daniel replied, "We wanted to make sure everything is shared fairly and nothing is forgotten." Hearing this, I thought about how we can say similar sentences in English. We share the chores at home, or we plan our household tasks for the week. These are natural ways to talk about family life. Now let's look at traveling by bus, a situation many of us experience. One morning, I needed to go to the city center for a meeting. The bus was full, and I had to stand near the door. A man with a small child entered, and there were no seats available. A young woman kindly stood up and offered her seat, saying, "Please, you can sit here with your child." This small act of kindness made the journey easier for them. If you are in a similar situation, you can use phrases like, "Would you like to sit here?" or "Please take my seat." Simple sentences like these make you sound polite and considerate. Next, let's visit the pharmacy. I went to buy medicine for my husband because he had a cold. The pharmacist asked, "Do you want tablets or syrup?" I replied, "Tablets, please." Then she asked, "Would you like the normal brand or the one with vitamin C?" I chose the one with vitamin C, thinking it would help him recover faster. At the end, she reminded me, "Please drink plenty of water with this medicine." When you go to a pharmacy, you can use phrases like, "I need medicine for a cold," or "Can you recommend something for a headache?" These sentences are simple, but they are very useful. Now, let's talk about sending a parcel at the post office. I visited to send a small package to my cousin. The clerk asked, "Do you want regular delivery or express?" I said, "Regular delivery is fine."
He gave me a small form and said, "Please write the address clearly and sign here." I filled it out, paid the fee, and thanked him. You can use simple phrases like, "I want to send a parcel," or "How many days will it take to arrive?" These are easy to remember and make sending packages stress-free. Yesterday, after finishing my morning chores, I decided to visit my aunt, Mrs. Thompson, who lives just a few streets away. I hadn't seen her for 2 weeks, and the weather was warm, so it was the perfect day for a walk. On the way, I met an old neighbor, Mr. Clark. He was carrying a bag of fresh vegetables from the market. We stopped and chatted about how prices for fresh produce have changed this season. He told me he likes to buy directly from local farmers because it supports them and gives his family better quality food. I agreed and thought I might do the same. When I arrived at my aunt's house, she welcomed me with a big smile. She was making homemade bread and invited me in. The smell of freshly baked bread filled the kitchen. It was irresistible. She asked me to help set the table for lunch, and while we worked together, she shared a story about her early days as a young teacher. She had to travel 2 hours by bus every day to reach her school. Life was simple, but disciplined. Hearing her story reminded me how much effort older generations put into their daily lives and how much we can learn from their patience and consistency. After lunch, we went to the backyard to water her plants. She loves gardening and grows herbs and flowers. There was a small lemon tree that had started producing fruit. She told me the first lemon was used to make a refreshing drink for her husband after a long day at work. This small act of care made me smile. It showed how little gestures strengthen family bonds. While watering the plants, a friendly neighborhood cat came by, rubbing against my leg. My aunt laughed and explained it often visits, hoping for a snack or some attention. When it was time to leave, she gave me a loaf of bread and some fresh mint leaves from her garden to take home. At home, my family was delighted. We made a simple tea with the mint and enjoyed the bread with honey. A small but heartwarming moment. This story shows how daily life is made up of simple actions: visiting relatives, sharing food, helping in the garden, or just having a chat with neighbors. These small events may seem ordinary, but they create strong relationships and meaningful memories. Speaking about these activities also helps you practice English naturally. You can describe the walk, the smells, the conversations, and all the little events that happened along the way. Everyday moments like these give you countless opportunities to use English in real life. The key is to notice them and try to express what you see, hear, and do, even in short, simple sentences. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about the last time you visited a relative or helped someone with their daily tasks. Try describing it in English using simple sentences first. For example, you could say, "Last week, I visited my uncle. We talked about his work. I helped him clean the garden." Then, once you feel comfortable, try expanding your sentences with more details. Like, "Last week, I visited my uncle who lives in a small village. We spent the afternoon talking about his new job and sharing some tea. I also helped him clean the garden and plant new flowers." This approach makes your English richer and more natural. A few days ago, I went to a nearby park in the evening. The weather was pleasant and the air felt cool after a hot day. Many people were walking, jogging, or simply sitting on benches to relax. I noticed a father teaching his little son how to ride a bicycle. The boy looked nervous at first, but with his father's steady hands on the back of the seat, he slowly started pedaling forward. After a few attempts, the father let go and the boy rode on his own. He was surprised and shouted with joy, "I'm doing it!" Everyone around smiled and clapped. Moments like this remind us how encouragement and patience help us learn new skills. Can you think of something you learned recently with someone's help? How did it make you feel? Later that evening, I stopped by a small tea stall near the park. It was a simple roadside place with wooden benches and a kettle steaming on the stove. I ordered a cup of tea and listened to the chatter around me.
Two friends were talking about their office work, sharing funny moments about their boss's habits, and another group was planning a weekend trip to a nearby hill station. I quietly sipped my tea and observed how these ordinary places hold so many stories. People from different backgrounds come together, talk, laugh, and share their daily life. Have you ever been to such a place in your city or town? What did people usually talk about there? After finishing my tea, I walked home slowly. On the way, I saw a group of children playing hide and seek in a narrow lane. Their laughter echoed between the buildings, and I felt a warm sense of joy. Simple things like this bring happiness, don't they? Sometimes we think happiness comes from big events, but often it is found in small daily moments. A cup of tea, a friendly chat, or a walk under the evening sky. As I reached home, I noticed my neighbor watering her plants on the balcony. She smiled and asked how my day was. We talked for a few minutes about the weather and a small community event planned for next weekend. It felt nice to connect, even briefly. Practicing such simple conversations in English can make your daily communication more fluent. You can start by asking about someone's day, sharing a small story, or commenting on the weather. These little exchanges build confidence, step by step. After a long and productive day, many people like to unwind with a good book, a favorite TV show, or calming music. I often find that spending a little time in the evening relaxing helps me prepare for a peaceful night's sleep. Reading is one of my favorite ways to end the day. I usually choose something light, not too heavy or complicated, so my mind can feel calm before bedtime. Do you enjoy reading at night? Maybe you like stories or prefer learning something new through a non-fiction book. Whatever it is, having a bedtime routine that feels comfortable is very important. It signals your body that it's time to rest. In the evening, I also try to avoid heavy meals. Eating something light like a bowl of soup, a sandwich, or some fruit keeps me comfortable throughout the night. Heavy or spicy food often makes it harder to sleep. Drinking warm tea, especially chamomile or ginger tea, can also help relax the body. Many people around the world enjoy this simple habit because it calms the stomach and prepares the body for rest. Another important part of my evening is checking in with family or friends. Sometimes I call or send a short message just to say goodnight or ask how their day went. These small connections strengthen relationships and make me feel more connected even when I am busy. Before going to bed, I like to reflect on my day. I ask myself, what did I do well today? Did I achieve something that made me happy? Is there something I can improve tomorrow? Just a minute or two is enough. Writing one or two thoughts in a notebook can also help track personal growth. Many successful people do this to stay motivated and organized.
Technology plays a big role in our lives, but at night, I try to keep my phone and computer away at least 30 minutes before sleep. The bright light from screens can make it harder to fall asleep. I prefer soft lighting, like a bedside lamp, which makes a big difference in sleep quality. If I want to listen to something, I often choose calm music or a relaxing podcast instead of scrolling on my phone. When I finally lie down, I focus on deep breathing for a few minutes. Deep breathing helps my mind slow down and signals to my body that it is time to rest. Some people like light stretching or a bit of meditation before bed, a great way to release tension and prepare for better sleep. Sometimes before falling asleep, I plan a few things for the next day. Not in detail, just a few important tasks. This helps me wake up with a clear mind and sense of direction. For example, if I have a meeting, I set a reminder or prepare my clothes the night before. It saves time in the morning and reduces stress. On weekends, my evening routine changes slightly. I might watch a movie, take a short walk, or meet a friend for dinner. These little variations make life enjoyable while keeping balance. I still avoid staying up too late to maintain a healthy sleep schedule. Evenings are also perfect for practicing gratitude. I like to think about 3 things I am thankful for each day. They don't have to be big, maybe a delicious meal, a kind message from a friend, or a beautiful sunset. This habit makes me feel positive and helps me sleep with a happy heart. Lastly, I make sure my bedroom is comfortable. A clean, quiet space makes a big difference. I keep my bed tidy, the room cool, and the lights dim. Some people add a touch of lavender or soft background music to create a peaceful atmosphere. These small steps turn the bedroom into a place where you can truly relax. When you build an evening routine that works for you, your days become easier and your nights more restful. It is not about doing many things. It is about finding the few habits that make you feel good. Whether it's reading, drinking tea, reflecting on your day, or talking to a loved one, these moments shape a happier and healthier life. Sometimes life can feel a little too busy, and you may forget to take care of yourself. This happens to many people who work long hours or spend a lot of time helping others. Let me share a story about one of my friends, Daniel. Daniel works as a nurse in a hospital. He is very kind and always puts his patients first. He starts his day very early, often at 6 a.m., and finishes his work at 6 p.m. After work, he goes home, eats something simple, and then spends time with his family. For many months, he did not have time to rest properly or do anything for himself. One day, Daniel realized he was feeling tired all the time. His back hurt, and he did not feel happy, even though he loved his job. This made him think about balance in life. He started to plan his days better. Instead of working extra hours every day, he spoke with his manager and said he needed 1 day off every week just for himself. On that day, he does not check emails or answer work calls. He uses that time to walk in the park, meet friends for coffee, or read a book. After a few weeks, he started to feel better. His energy returned, and he was able to take care of his patients more effectively because he was also taking care of himself. Why is this story important? Because many people forget that self-care is part of life. If you are always busy and never rest, your body and mind can become tired. You might become angry easily or lose motivation. That is why making time for yourself, even just 1 hour a day, is very important. You can do simple things like drinking tea without looking at your phone, going for a short walk,
listening to your favorite music, or even sitting quietly and doing nothing for a few minutes. These small things help your brain and your heart to relax. Another example is from a woman named Emma. She works in an office and also studies in the evening. She used to think that resting was wasting time. She always tried to do something productive, answering emails, cooking, cleaning, or studying, but after a few months, she started to feel stressed and could not sleep well at night. One day, her friend told her to try something different, to write down her feelings in a notebook every night for 5 minutes. At first, she thought it was strange, but she tried it. After 1 week, she noticed that her mind became calmer and her sleep improved. Writing helped her release her thoughts and stop overthinking. This shows that even small habits can make a big difference in our daily life. You do not need to make big changes. Start small and slowly. You will see how it helps your mind and your body. Let us talk about something many people experience: stress from work. Have you ever felt that your boss or colleagues expect too much from you? Or maybe you feel pressure to always do better, even when you're already working very hard? This kind of stress can make you tired, and if it lasts for a long time, it can even affect your health. That is why setting limits is important. If you finish work at 5 p.m., try not to check your emails after that time. Your brain needs to rest to be ready for the next day. Many successful people say their secret is not working all the time, but working smartly and knowing when to stop. One helpful tip is to create a small evening routine. After dinner, try to turn off your phone or computer for 30 minutes. Sit with your family, talk with them, or do something relaxing like reading a book. This simple habit can improve your sleep and reduce your stress. In the morning, you will feel more ready and fresh. Now let's talk about friendships. Friends are very important in life, but as adults, many people find it hard to keep in touch with their friends. They say, "I'm too busy," or "I will call them next week," but then weeks pass and they forget. A strong friendship can give you emotional support, make you laugh, and help you feel that you are not alone. Even a short message to a friend can make a big difference. For example, I have a friend who lives in another city. We do not meet often, but every Friday we send each other a message. "How was your week?" It takes only 1 minute, but it keeps our friendship alive. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or partners, need attention, just like plants need water. If you do not give them time, they slowly become weak. So even if you are busy, try to send a message, make a call, or meet for a short time. These small actions can make your heart feel warm and your life feel richer. Another thing that can help in daily life is learning something new. Many people think learning is only for school or university, but actually learning is for all life. It keeps your brain active and makes you feel happy. You do not need to study something big. It can be simple, learning a new recipe, a new word in English, or how to fix something in your house. For example, one of my neighbors, Mr. Smith, is 65 years old. Last year, he decided to learn how to play the guitar. At first, it was difficult because his fingers were stiff, but he practiced every day for 15 minutes. Now he can play simple songs and he feels proud. He says, "I feel young again when I learn something new." The same is true for traveling. Travel doesn't always mean going to another country. You can explore a new area in your own city. Try a different restaurant or visit a museum you've never been to. These experiences open your mind and give you new stories to tell.
Also, let us talk about small daily habits that make your life better. Drinking enough water is one of them. Many people forget to drink water during the day, especially when they are busy. They drink coffee or tea, but not enough water. Dehydration can make you feel tired, give you headaches, and even make your skin dry. Try to drink 1 glass of water every hour when you are awake. It is a small thing, but it makes a big difference. Another habit is keeping your living space clean. A messy room can make your mind feel messy too. If you clean your desk, make your bed, and keep your clothes in order, you will feel calmer and more ready to start your day. Finally, think about how you start your morning. Many people wake up and immediately check their phone. They read emails, news, or social media, and their mind becomes full of information before they even have breakfast. A better way is to wake up, stretch your body, drink some water, and spend a few minutes thinking about your day. What do you want to do today? What is one thing that will make you feel good? This small morning habit can set a positive tone for your whole day. One of the most interesting experiences I had recently was visiting the local library in my neighborhood. Libraries are quiet and peaceful places, perfect for learning and relaxing. When I entered, the librarian greeted me warmly, saying, "Good afternoon, Natasha. Are you looking for something specific today?" I replied, "Yes, I am looking for books on cooking and healthy eating." She smiled and pointed me toward the section with cookbooks and nutrition guides. While browsing, I noticed a small group of students sitting at a table, reading and discussing their school assignments. I thought it was nice to see young people enjoying learning in a public space. While I was choosing a book, an older gentleman approached me. His name was Mr. Green, and he loves reading history books. We started talking about a recent historical documentary he had watched, and he recommended a few books to me. I said, "Thank you, I will check these out. They sound very interesting." He replied, "You are welcome. Reading is one of the best ways to understand the world and improve your mind." This made me think about how talking to people in real life gives you new ideas and knowledge. Even short conversations can be helpful, and practicing English while speaking with others is very effective. After spending some time in the library, I decided to check out a few books. The librarian asked, "Do you have a library card?" I said, "Yes, here it is." She scanned my card and said, "You can borrow these for 2 weeks. Please return them on time." I thanked her and left. On my way home, I started thinking about the new recipes I could try from the cookbooks. Learning something new and then applying it in real life is always satisfying. Another recent experience I'd like to share happened at a small neighborhood cafe. I went there one morning to meet a friend, Mrs. Williams. She was sipping coffee and reading a newspaper when I arrived. I ordered a cappuccino and a croissant. The barista, a young woman named Lisa, smiled and said, "Your coffee will be ready in 2 minutes." While waiting, I noticed the cafe was full of people. Some were working on laptops, others were talking with friends, and a few were simply enjoying their breakfast quietly. I realized that cafes are not only places to eat and drink, but also spaces for people to relax and connect. Mrs. Williams and I talked about simple things, our weekend plans, family, and small challenges at work. She told me that she had started a small garden on her balcony and grows herbs like basil and mint. I asked, "How do you manage it with your busy schedule?" She replied, "I water the plants in the morning for 10 minutes. That's enough to keep them healthy. It also gives me a calm start to the day." This is a good example of how small, consistent actions can create positive results. In English, you can describe such routines by saying, "I water my plants every morning," or "I spend 10 minutes on gardening daily." These sentences are short, simple, and natural. Later that day, I went to the supermarket to buy groceries. The store was busy, and many people were shopping for their families. I picked up vegetables, fruits, milk, and bread. At the checkout counter, the cashier asked, "Do you want paper or plastic bags?" I replied, Paper, please. Then she asked, "Do you have a membership card?" I said, "Yes, here it is." She scanned it and said, "Thank you. Your total is $25. I paid, collected my bags, and left. Supermarket visits are simple but full of useful vocabulary. You can practice phrases like, "I need 1 kilo of tomatoes," or "How much does this cost?" or "Can I pay by card?" One afternoon, I visited a nearby bakery to buy some bread for my husband. The bakery smelled amazing. The baker, Mr. Brown, greeted me and asked, "What kind of bread would you like today?" I replied, "I would like 2 loaves of whole wheat bread, please." While waiting, I noticed how he prepared the dough carefully and baked fresh bread every morning. Watching someone skilled at their work reminded me how important it is to take pride in what we do. After giving me the bread, he said, "Have a nice day and enjoy the bread." I smiled and thanked him. Simple greetings like this make daily life friendly and pleasant. Another useful experience was when I visited a local clinic for a routine health checkup. The receptionist said, "Please fill out this form and take a seat." I filled it out and waited. A nurse called me in and said, "We will take your blood pressure and temperature first." I followed her instructions carefully. Later, the doctor asked, "How have you been feeling recently?" I replied, "I feel well, but sometimes I feel tired after work." The doctor gave me some advice about sleep and nutrition, and I thanked him for his guidance. This situation shows how to speak politely in English in a healthcare setting. You can say, "I feel a little tired," or "I have a small headache," or "Can you advise me?" These phrases are very practical. Visiting a local post office is another example of everyday life. My friend Mr. James wanted to send a small parcel to his family. At the counter, the clerk asked, "Do you want express or standard delivery?" He replied, "Standard delivery is fine." Then the clerk said, "Please fill out this form with the sender and receiver details." Mr. James carefully filled the form and paid. After completing everything, the clerk said, "Your parcel will arrive in 5 days. Thank you for using our service." You can practice English by saying sentences like, "I want to send a parcel," or "How long will it take to arrive?" or "Do you have tracking?" One more situation from daily life is visiting a pharmacy. My husband had a small headache, so I went to the pharmacy and said, "Hello, I need medicine for a mild headache." The pharmacist asked, "Do you want tablets or syrup?" I replied, "Tablets, please." Then she asked about allergies and medical history. I answered honestly. She handed the medicine and explained, "Take 1 tablet after meals. Drink plenty of water." These short instructions are very common, and practicing them can help you feel confident when buying medicine. One sunny morning, I decided to take a short walk around my neighborhood before starting work. The air was fresh and the streets were quiet. I saw Mr. Thompson, my neighbor, watering his garden. He smiled and said, "Good morning, Natasha. How are you today?" I replied, "Good morning. I am doing well, thank you. How about you?" He answered, "I am fine, just keeping the plants healthy." While talking, I noticed he had planted some new flowers. He explained, "These are marigolds. They bloom beautifully in spring." I said, "They look lovely. I hope they grow well." Simple conversations like this are very useful in daily life. You can say, "Your garden looks beautiful," or "What kind of flowers are these?" Later, I needed to visit a small hardware store to buy some tools. My husband Peter asked me to get a hammer and some screws. When I entered the store, the shop assistant, a young man named Alex, greeted me and said, "Hello, can I help you find anything?" I replied, "Yes, I need a small hammer and some screws." He showed me the items and asked, "Do you need any nails or other tools?" I said, "No, just these for now." After paying, he said, "Thank you. Have a nice day." Using sentences like, "Can you help me find this?" or "How much is this?" or "Can you have this in a smaller size?" can make shopping smoother. After shopping, I went to the nearby bakery to buy bread and pastries. The baker, Mr. Brown, asked, "Would you like whole wheat or white bread?" I replied, "Whole wheat, please." Then I asked, "Do you have fresh croissants?" He said, "Yes, we baked them this morning." I took 2 croissants and paid. He said, "Enjoy. Thank you for coming." Simple shopping phrases are very helpful. For example, you can say, "I would like 1 kilo of apples," or "Can I get 2 of these?" In the afternoon, I received a call from my friend Sarah. She asked, "Natasha, can you help me plan a small family gathering this weekend?" I said, "Of course. What do you need?" She replied, "We want to invite our relatives and have some snacks and tea. Can you help with the menu?" I suggested, "How about sandwiches, some fresh fruits, and tea?" She said, "Perfect. Can you also help with decorations?" I replied, "Yes, I can bring some flowers and small table decorations." Planning events like this helps you practice English for organizing activities. You can say, "Can you help me?" or "I can bring some snacks," or "What time should we start?" Later that day, I visited the post office to send some documents. The clerk asked, "Do you want standard or express delivery?" I replied, "Express, please." Then he said, "Please fill out this form and write the recipient's address clearly." After filling the form, I handed it to him. He said, "Your parcel will arrive in 2 days. Thank you." Everyday sentences like, "I want to send this parcel," or "How long will it take?" are very useful in real life. In the evening, I went to a small coffee shop near my home. My husband, Peter, joined me. We ordered 2 cups of cappuccino and sat near the window. The barista, Lisa, asked, "Would you like sugar or honey?" I said, "Honey, please." Peter said, "No sugar for me." While sipping coffee, we observed people walking by and discussed our plans for the weekend. This simple activity shows how to describe daily routines and conversations in English. Another useful situation happened at a local pharmacy. Peter had a small headache, so I asked the pharmacist, "Hello, can you recommend medicine for a mild headache?" The pharmacist asked, "Do you prefer tablets or syrup?" I replied, "Tablets, please." Then he explained the dosage. Take 1 tablet after meals. Drink plenty of water. These short instructions are very common, and practicing them can help you feel confident when buying medicine. One day, I went to the bank to pay some bills. The teller asked, "Do you want to pay online bills or cash bills today?" I replied, "Cash bills, please." She gave me a form to fill out, and I wrote the details. Then she said, "Your bills are paid. Here is your receipt." I thanked her and left. Visiting a bank regularly helps you practice phrases like, "I want to pay my bills," or "Can I get a receipt?" or "How much do I need to pay?" These sentences are simple, but necessary in daily life. In another example, I went with my husband to buy fruits at the local market. The seller asked, "How many oranges do you want?" I replied, "Half a kilo, please." Then he asked, "Do you want ripe or slightly green ones?" I said, "Ripe ones, please." He packed them carefully and said, "Here you go. That will be $3. Using short and clear sentences like, "I want half a kilo," or "Can I get the ripe ones?" make shopping easy and fast. Sometimes we need help with home repairs. Last week, our kitchen sink was leaking. I called a plumber and said, "Hello, my sink is leaking. Can you come and fix it?" He asked, "When can I come?" I replied, "Tomorrow afternoon, please." The plumber arrived, fixed the leak, and said, "It should be fine now." Simple sentences like, "Can you fix this?" or "When will you come?" are very practical. Another everyday activity is visiting a dry cleaner. I had a shirt that needed washing. I said, "Hello, I need this shirt cleaned and ironed." The attendant asked, "When do you need it?" I replied, "Tomorrow morning, if possible." A day later, I picked it up and it was perfectly clean. Phrases like, "I need this cleaned," or "When can I collect it?" are very useful.
A few days ago, I went to a small neighborhood park with my husband, Peter. The park was full of people enjoying the morning sun. Some were jogging, others were walking their dogs, and a few children were playing with a ball. As we walked along the path, we saw a group of elderly people practicing Tai Chi. They moved slowly, focusing on their breathing and posture. I said to Peter, "It looks very relaxing. Maybe we can try it one day." He agreed, and we decided to check a class near our home next week. You can describe this in English by saying, "I saw people practicing Tai Chi in the park," or "They were moving slowly and carefully." These sentences help you talk about observations in daily life. Later, in the park, we stopped at a small bench to rest. A young mother with her child sat nearby. The child was learning to ride a small bicycle. The mother encouraged him, saying, "Keep pedaling, you can do it." After a few tries, the child managed to ride without help, and he laughed loudly. The mother clapped and said, "Great job!" Watching this reminded me how encouragement and patience help people learn new things. You can use sentences like, "She helped her child ride a bicycle," or "He was very happy when he succeeded." These are simple but useful phrases for daily conversations. After leaving the park, we visited a small bakery to buy fresh bread and pastries. The baker, Mr. Brown, greeted us and asked, "Would you like whole wheat or white bread?" I said, "Whole wheat, please." Then Peter asked, "Do you have any chocolate croissants today?" Mr. Brown replied, "Yes, fresh ones just out of the oven." We bought 2 croissants and a loaf of bread. Simple sentences like, "I would like this, please," or "Do you have this today?" are very practical for shopping. Next, we went to a small grocery store. The cashier asked, "Do you want a bag?" I said, "Yes, paper bag, please." Then she asked, "Do you have a loyalty card?" I replied, "Yes, here it is." After scanning the items, she said, "Your total is $22. Phrases like, "Can I pay by card?" or "How much is this?" are very useful for daily shopping. In the afternoon, I received a phone call from my friend Emma. She said, "Natasha, can you help me prepare snacks for a small family gathering this weekend?" I replied, "Of course. What do you need me to do?" She said, "We want to invite our relatives and serve tea and sandwiches. Can you bring some fruits?" I said, "Sure, I can bring apples and bananas."
Planning small gatherings helps you practice English for invitations and organizing activities. Sentences like, "Can you help me?" or "I can bring this" are very useful. Later that day, I visited the local pharmacy again. My husband had a headache, so I said, "Hello, can you recommend medicine for a mild headache?" The pharmacist asked, "Do you want tablets or syrup?" I replied, "Tablets, please." Then she explained, "Take 1 tablet after meals, drink plenty of water." Sentences like, "Can you recommend medicine?" or "How should I take this?" are very useful for healthcare situations.
One morning, I went to the post office to send a small parcel to my cousin. The clerk asked, "Do you want express or standard delivery?" I replied, "Express, please." Then he said, "Please fill out this form and write the recipient's address clearly." After completing the form, he said, "Your parcel will arrive in 2 days. Thank you." Simple sentences like, "I want to send a parcel," or "How long will it take?" are very practical. Another day, we needed to visit the bank to pay our bills. The teller asked, "Do you want to pay online or cash bills?" I said, "Cash bills, please." She gave me a form to fill out and said, "Please write the details clearly." After paying, she said, "Here's your receipt. Thank you." Using sentences like, "I want to pay my bills," or "Can I get a receipt?" is very useful in daily life. In the evening, Peter and I went to a small cafe near our home. The barista, Lisa, asked, "Would you like sugar or honey in your coffee?" I replied, "Honey, please." Peter said, "No sugar for me." While drinking our coffee, we talked about plans for the weekend and observed people walking by. Simple phrases like, "I would like coffee with honey," or "Where do you want to sit?" help describe daily situations. Sometimes small home problems happen. Last week, our kitchen sink started leaking. I called a plumber and said, "Hello, my sink is leaking. Can you come and fix it?" He asked, "When can I come?" I replied, "Tomorrow afternoon, please." The plumber arrived, fixed the leak, and said, "It should be fine." Now you can use sentences like, "Can you fix this?" or "When will you come?" in real-life situations. Another useful experience was visiting a dry cleaner. I had a shirt that needed cleaning. I said, "Hello, I need this shirt cleaned and ironed." The attendant asked, "When do you need it?" I replied, "Tomorrow morning if possible." A day later, I picked it up and it was perfectly clean. Phrases like, "I need this cleaned," or "When can I collect it?" are practical and easy to use. One weekend, we visited a small museum in the city. The guide asked, "Would you like a tour or just explore on your own?" I said, "We want a tour, please." The guide explained each exhibit carefully, telling stories about the history and significance of the items. My husband said, "This is very interesting. I learned a lot today." Visiting museums helps you practice sentences like, "Can you explain this?" or "I want to know more about this." In another situation, we went to a local supermarket. I asked, "Where can I find fresh vegetables?" The staff replied, "They're in aisle 3. I said, "Thank you." Then I picked tomatoes, cucumbers, and spinach. At the counter, I said, "Can I pay by card?" The cashier replied, "Yes, please insert your card." As we wrap up today's episode, think about all the small moments in daily life we explored: visiting the pharmacy, paying bills at the bank, shopping for fruits, taking walks in the park, enjoying a coffee at a cafe, or even chatting with neighbors. Each of these experiences is an opportunity to practice English naturally. Simple sentences like, "Can I pay by card?" Or, "I would like this, please." Or, "How long will it take?" may seem small, but they build your confidence and make your communication smoother every day. Remember, learning English is not just about studying. It's about living the language. Observing, asking questions, helping others, or describing what you see and do gives your English a real-life context. So take what we practiced today and try it in your own life. Speak with friends, shop, visit local places, or even describe your day to yourself in English. Every small step counts. Thank you for joining me today on English Without Limit. Keep noticing, keep practicing, and keep enjoying the language in your daily life. I'll see you in the next episode for more practical English adventures. Stay curious, stay confident, and most importantly, have fun with English every day.